Hello, fellow fumblers, and welcome to another episode of the Film Fumblers podcast, the show where four friends fumble through your favorite films. Today, we are going to be reviewing Payback, a movie released in 1999 and directed by Brian Helgeland. Helgeland, I think that's how you say it. Without further ado, my name is Adrian.
I'm Jay.
I'm Taryn.
Hey, it's James.
All right, Payback, 1999. But first, let's hop into these shots.
Oh man.
You guys on board?
Got him.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Oh man,
I like your shot
cheers.
glass, Adrian.
Thanks, this is a little mini solo.
Cheers, brothers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm out of Tito's and I'm sad. Oh god, that was disgusting.
Oh, I could shoot whiskey a lot better than vodka, I think.
What'd you just shoot, Taryn?
Pinnacle vodka.
Pinnacle vodka? Ugh. Is it like cotton candy or some weird flavor, or
Nope.
just?
Just
Nope.
Straight up.
plain ass plastic.
Oh,
bottle.
man.
Shot some
Bullshit.
tequila.
Nice.
Dude,
nice.
Taryn, your hair's getting long as shit, man. And you got the handlebar mustache going on. You got an aesthetic going, dude.
Do you like it?
He's
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Thanks, man.
I dig it.
he's like perfect fit for this era here.
Oh man,
True.
Sure, man.
A little bit.
dude. Okay, so 1999. This movie feels like early 90s. I don't know. I feel like my 90s are just all over the place because this felt. Because I'm thinking like the next year was 2000, and that just feels so much different than 1999
Yeah.
or like the
dude.
90s.
Yeah.
And this was definitely leaning into the 90s, way more so than.
This almost felt 80s to me.
Yeah,
even
Yeah.
like,
I
even
agree,
like
dude.
some of the shots and everything, like some of it just felt super old. And I was kind of comparing it to when was RoboCop?
87? 8, 9, something like that.
88?
Late 80s.
Yeah, it felt like that, and this is 10 years after that, which is kind of
Yeah.
mind-blowing. This movie felt very dated in a weird way.
Yeah,
felt-
it did.
yeah.
It felt weird. It felt like an 80s movie, but also felt like it had some of the trappings of the shitty. Not that I'm saying this is shitty, but like the 2000s movies that we always dig on a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think it went far enough to be considered a shitty 2000 movie. It's just like this caught in this weird space.
Well,
for
and
me.
I think there was, and to touch on that, we talk a lot about movies in the mid or like in the aughts, right? And how they have all those weird tropes where they say things in film that we don't say anymore. And in the 90s, it was like they were doing things more that we don't really do anymore. There was a lot of women beating in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
girls are getting
Yeah.
smacked around a lot. And I was just like, okay, like, we're going at it again. It's,
Yeah.
I don't,
But
do
there
you see
was
that now?
there was strong female women in this too. Female women. I mean, that's
Female, female women.
They were.
Women who are female.
Yeah.
Lucy Liu, the girl who played Pearl, that was an interesting character overall.
Shout out Lucy Liu. She was
Yeah, she was awesome.
She was hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's like another thing about this movie is like, so was it? It was like not trying to take itself too seriously. I thought a little
Yeah.
bit.
It was
I
pretty
agree.
funny at points. Like,
Yeah,
not
I
like
didn't
laughing
expect
at
it to
it,
be
but
as funny.
yeah, yeah.
and I think that's like okay. Compare it to Take a Shot when you mentioned Running Scared, but
Oh boy.
that's like the difference between this and Running Scared, where Running Scared was like 100% trying to take itself seriously, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I
like,
agree.
but this movie was like borderline, like this isn't serious, right? Like none of this is serious. Like,
Yeah, you wouldn't outright call it a comedy, but it's not far away either.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah,
Mhm.
which is interesting because you have Mel Gibson, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The one and only.
Yeah, you have the one and only Mel Gibson, who's generally a very strong actor, and he kind of took this script and kind of this plot, and he went with it. I thought he was great. I thought
Yeah.
I thought he was just one of those kind of guys that just takes something and kind of elevates it a little bit. If it was anyone else, this would just be like complete and utter dog shit.
You think
Right?
so?
Holy shit.
I think so. Like
There's a lot of times where
legit.
he just looked like Bruce Willis. And I was like, oh, this could just be Bruce
He
Willis.
looked like Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
Like,
like
Bruce
literally
Willis is
looks
like
him.
way cooler, I think, than Mel Gibson. I don't know. Mel Gibson was pretty fucking cool in this too,
Yeah,
but
I
Yeah.
think they're similar.
Yeah.
there was like so Porter, Mel Gibson's character, just got his ass kicked constantly. Like he was just always getting his ass kicked. But there was some part of me that felt like Mel Gibson was like leaning into that and just like liked that, like oh yeah, I'm the underdog who like is the bad guy, but like also you're rooting for me and like I'm still
Yeah.
a badass. And it
Yeah.
was really
Okay,
ahead.
so like so when I was like, what is this movie that we're watching? I messaged you guys like earlier in the week and I Googled it and then I looked at the wiki like just really quick and I saw the movie post and it was just like, get ready to root for the bad guy. And I was just like, oh no. I was like,
one of these.
it kind of, I was like a little spoilerish. I was like, okay, so he's gonna be sort of anti-hero, right? Like he's gonna definitely be a guy who has like his faults and everything, but
Yeah.
Well,
I
was
had
he a hero at all? Like, was he ever really a hero? Did he? I mean, he inadvertently, spoilers, he inadvertently saved what's her name, Rosie, at the end of the movie because he forgot his cigarettes and had to go back up into the room. But like,
Yeah.
other than that, he pretty much was just playing for himself the entire time.
yeah
You know.
yeah
So
and that's kind of the anti-hero like mantra, like, you know, it's
I guess.
you kind of play both sides and you don't really care who gets in your way, you just want to get your way, which was just like hilarious. Like even in the dialogue, like he's just like very persistent on being like, it isn't $130,000, it's only 70K. Like, please,
Right, yeah.
just give me my fucking money. I don't give
Yeah.
a fuck who gets all that other money. Like, please just give me my money. Like, it's
Yeah,
kinda,
and like fitting for the title Payback, like he's not looking to. Well, granted, he stole that money, but he feels that
Yeah.
he deserves it, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
all he's going for, not a penny more.
yeah.
And I see what you're saying about the anti-hero. Like I could almost compare his character to Clint Eastwood in A Fistful of Dollars, where you have the two factions and then Clint Eastwood just trying to profit. Like Mel Gibson's like, listen, I don't care about anything the fuck else is going on. Like just give me my 70K.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's
I felt
Yeah.
like because of the way that he played the character, but like the way that the rest of the movie was written, it was for me like an intersection of like Oceans-esque movies where there's a little bit of heistiness, a little bit of cleverness, and
Yeah.
then something like Sin City where it's a little more darker and, you know,
Everyone's evil. The city is
yeah,
evil itself. Yeah.
exactly. And then a little bit of oh man, a little bit of something else. I don't know.
you are?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but another movie too. Like there's
Oh,
another
okay.
movie that this reminds me of. But yeah, I thought it was fun. Like and I didn't really know what it was going in. Like I had no idea. So to get
Yeah.
that out of it, I think it was cool. It was like a
Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
fun watch.
I thought it was totally gonna be serious, like this guy's just getting payback revenge, and you're just cheering for him the whole way or something.
Right.
But it's just like,
Yeah.
nah, it's just a fun fucking ride. It's a roller coaster.
Very different roller coaster from our other Payback movie, Old Boy,
Oh yeah.
where I feel like, okay, like this movie doesn't have quite the stake. Like okay, yeah, like you got two-timed, you got shot in the back, you almost died, but it's not like you stayed in a cell for 7 years or whatever Old Boy was.
Yeah.
So, you know, there wasn't a lot of time to kind of dwell on his
Right.
like his
Character, right?
misfortune. You know, there wasn't a lot of time for him to like develop and really understand why he wants payback so much and why he's such a crazy motherfucker who he is, right? and they say it throughout the movie. They're just like, oh, it's only $70,000, like you're fucking crazy. And he's just
My
and
suits
that's-
cost
and
more
that's
than that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's what's funny about it. That's what's
Which
kinda...
is kind of funny because, like, I mean, obviously 70 grand, yeah, that's a fuckload of money, but to like these fucking high-end criminals, it
Yeah.
does seem so frivolous that he's
Right.
killing executives of like these crime companies, like
Yeah, he's smashing through like tiers of crime
yeah,
lord.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
70
ceiling
grand,
shattering.
dude.
Which
The other
is like,
movie, the other movie that it reminds me of is John Wick, and at least they
Yes.
killed his fucking
Ah.
dog in that movie. Also, killing dogs. There was one in this movie too.
Psych.
oh no,
Psych.
no, he got shot, but then they healed him.
Yeah.
They wrapped him up, so he
Oh.
was good. Did you
Where
miss
was
that?
he? Did they show him
Yeah,
again?
missed
Yeah,
that.
he's been the
They
whole
showed him
time. He has a
again
little,
with some
little band-aid.
little
Little
bandage.
band-aid.
I
I was
guess I
like,
missed
oh my
that.
god, another dead dog. I was like, what is wrong with
Yeah,
that?
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
Crazy.
we didn't make these movies, Jesus. I
Oh,
mean,
but some of
but we
us are
keep picking them. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just what's what?
What did you say, James? Some of us are what?
no, I'm just some of us pick these movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like been like 10 movies in a row or something
Yeah, it's
crazy.
insane.
yeah.
Dude.
A lot of
Okay,
animal-
because there was that in the episode I wasn't in on.
Yeah.
Was it Brain Dead? Was that
Yeah,
what it's called?
yeah.
And then what other movies? We need to go over this again because I missed that.
There was one in The Devil All the Time.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh my
There
god.
was
The Thing.
in
Thing.
Halloween,
Halloween.
The
The
Thing.
Thing.
Wait, Halloween? What dog?
Yeah, the
bites?
kid when he's a kid, he kills a dog or something.
Oh, that's
When
Or
he's
right.
maybe
adult, the
it's
dog's
when he's
barking
older.
at him, and he fucking.
Oh yeah, when he's older, when he's an adult.
Oh. Yeah, there's a lot. Even just 4 is too many.
I was
Like,
stoked.
it's
Yeah,
really
there's a lot.
When I saw this dog was alive, I was like, thank fucking God.
Yeah, that was a good boy.
Jesus Christ.
And I love the scene where you have Val who goes into the hotel or goes into her condo or whatever, and he's like, "Where's Porter?" And she's like, "He's in the bedroom." And the dog's name is also Porter. I was like, "Hey."
Oh,
So,
I didn't
Oh
catch
yeah,
that. I
yeah,
didn't
the
catch
dog's name's Porter, so she wasn't
Yeah.
lying.
she's like, he does his job better than you did or whatever. She like hit him with some little
He
remark.
won't leave me or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he won't. She's like, ever since you left, I got him, and he'll never leave me, kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But glad to see that he made it out.
Yeah, I guess I messed up.
How freaking Porter, man? This guy does not die. How many times does he need to be shot in the back
Yeah.
and like bleed out and ostensibly
ran
be just
over
completely
with cars.
hit by a
like,
car?
every little thing. Like
Destroyed.
that's what's funny
toads.
about this movie is like you guys say like John Wick and stuff, and like at least in Old Boy, like there was a fucking mob Odesu had to go through to like get to the top dogs. Like this guy literally had to fight like 2 people to get to like a boss, like or I don't
Yeah.
know, like a mob boss, and I was just like,
Yeah.
this weirdly not that I want everything to be realistic or anything like that, but it was just like this guy is literally just going through the ranks so easily. Like everything was like perfectly placed out for him,
Those were his best
which was
guys,
kind
bro.
of like
Yeah,
he's
those
like,
were
"Oh, you
those
got
two of his
2 of
best
my
men. Best
Yeah.
men, whatever. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
love how he had the role of pennies. Like, that's such a funny thing. I would hear about that shit. Did you guys hear about that shit like in high school all the time? Like, oh yeah, carry a lighter in your pocket or a roll of quarters or something, and you put it in your fist, and it like makes your fist fuller, so your punches are. And when he was getting frisked and he had the pennies, I was like, this motherfucker's throwing hands real soon.
Yeah.
And sure enough, yeah.
Yeah.
He uses it just for that. Which I guess brings back to James's point. Like, I think if this movie was trying to take itself a lot more seriously, I probably would have been like, this is bad. Like, but
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't, and it just made me be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's let it have fun, and I'm gonna have fun
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think like Lucy Liu's character, like the dominatrix, like
Mhm.
just totally added to that. Like, this is weird, this is funny. Like, like it
Yeah.
was trying. That's why like I appreciate her character like a lot, because it just kind of added to the funniness of it, and then it tied it in with what was the name of the Asian clan?
Oh, I
Probably
don't
sound
remember.
racist. I don't remember.
I think it
Something
was
very
the
racist.
cows.
Chang, the Chang
Chows,
clan or
I
something.
think.
I don't know. The
Chows,
Chows,
yeah.
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 Yeah, there
And
was a
that
bit of
one-
racist shit in this movie for sure.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like not from Porter, you know, I think it was like a way to distinct him from the other guy who
He's
you
like,
kind of end
he's
up
not this
hating.
bad, right?
Yeah, exactly. Which is
But
weird.
that's the thing is like I don't think 1999 was like the height of like people caring about racial
Yeah.
equality in
No,
film.
for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
How
just
it is today.
interesting to see that stuff, I guess, in now.
Yeah, nowadays
Um,
for sure.
One of the things I laughed at, which I don't know if it was like appropriate or not, but the little like Inspector Gadget shoe with the heroin that she had.
I wrote down get smart shoe,
Get
Get
some
some-
shoe, yeah.
get high shoe.
There you
get
go.
high shoe.
Yeah, that
So
was
did she
that was good.
actually die? His wife? Like she actually just
Yeah.
OD'd and died?
I guess
I
so.
get well, that's what he
That's so-
says.
Yeah,
And,
because
he
like he
didn't
just,
even care. Like he was just
he was
like,
just
like, laid
by
saying
her.
it
I was
so
like-
matter of factly the entire movie. Like, oh yeah, and your wife? He's like, yeah, she's dead. But anyway, so how about those
Yeah.
Dodgers? Like, what?
okay, so like my thing was is like, okay, I couldn't tell that his wife and Rosie, the hooker,
They
were
looked
two
way
different,
too
Girlfriend.
similar.
that they were
Yeah.
two different people. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
I was confused also.
same person. So I
I
was
guess
kind of
he
like,
has a type.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that's just like a product of, you know, you cast white blonde
Yeah.
women in movies, and like I was just like, I was like, that's the same girl, right? Like to Jacqueline.
You're like, oh, she cleaned up.
And I
Yeah,
was
it's
like,
like,
she's
oh,
got
she's
a nice
fine now.
condo
I
now.
was
and
like,
a
I
dog.
don't. I totally got confused on that. Maybe I'm just stupid.
So was she?
No, I
She
did
was an
too.
escort, right? She was like a high class escort kind of thing. That was her character.
Rosie,
Yeah, I think
the
Not his
girlfriend.
wife.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
yeah, Rosie. Yeah,
And he like drove her and stuff. or
chauffeured her,
something?
drove her, or something. Yeah, which is an interesting relationship that they had, especially towards the end where she's like saves his ass kind of, and he's like dying and going into that. Which that was I actually liked the final scene where he's in and out of consciousness and like his life is starting to flash before his eyes. I thought it was cool how they did those transitions to black and white and then in reality, and then her like Rosie pulling up and picking him up and, you know, driving off. But at the very end where he's just like, I know a guy, just drive, and she's like, is he a doctor? And he's like, just drive. And like and then it just cuts to credits. I'm like, dude, you're dying. Like
Yeah.
I hope he's a doctor.
Talking about the very end.
What's that?
You're talking about the
Yeah,
very
yeah,
end.
the
scene?
very
it was
last.
just like, what the hell? It was almost like westerny. Like it was just like,
Yeah.
maybe both of us were higher than we thought. Something weird like
Yeah.
Right off into the
stop doing.
sunset.
Yeah. Like I was like, this is hilarious. But like that's what's good about like, okay, so maybe you might think bad movie overall, but there was a lot of good one-liners. Like when
Yes.
Yeah.
the dominatrix was
Oh,
like
man.
when he like beat the shit out of Val while she beat the shit out of Val, and then he beat the shit out of Val. And then she was like, I got a few minutes. And he's like, so go boil an egg.
Yeah.
Like, what? Go boil an egg.
So
Like, it's just like, he's not like interested in anything. And I'm just like, like some of the one-liners were just boom, zingers that
Yeah.
definitely
Very
made you laugh. But also some of them were like super fucking cool. Like, it's just like, my dad never bought me a Ferrari. I had to steal my first one. Like, those are just like, you know, like this is kind of like those little zingers that
Yeah.
kind of
And this movie it wasn't afraid to one, make fun of itself, but two, be really cool. Like,
Yeah.
so
Right.
there was the diner scene. It's like the very, very first part of the movie where he's at the diner and he like had just stole $3 from that homeless guy. And then just like fucking chokes him out and is like, this is my $3 now, motherfucker. Goes to buy a cup of coffee in that diner. And that shot where you see, you know, the waitress and then him at the bar, the coffee behind him, the Venetian blinds kind of coming in, and you're just like, this is noir. Like that's
Yeah.
totally what they're kind of shooting for.
Yeah,
So it was
and,
fun, but it was like a cool scene. It was a cool.
and shout out to like the cinematography and even like the editors and stuff, like a lot of it was filmed very grainy. Gave it that. I think that's what made it seem weird. Where it was like, is this 80s? Because there
Right.
were times where it was just like it was gray, like
Yeah.
you're like, this feels old, and then you would get like flashbacks and there was a lot more color. So
Yeah.
like I was
Mhm.
I was impressed with some of that stuff. Like it was actually pretty cool.
I read that they wanted to do it all in black and white, but like
Hmm.
late 90s, they were like, everybody wants color. We have to do it in
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
Brother,
So
my
like,
TV just does color, and you're gonna make
yeah,
me watch. Yeah.
That's like sounds like
exactly.
something someone would say in like the 50s. Everyone just wants color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah, yeah.
random to say.
Yeah,
And
so but they did film it in a specific way to where they were able to control more of the colors. There's lots of like reds
yeah,
and warm colors,
yeah,
clay tones. The black and white is very much there, like lots of grays and stuff. So they really tried to do it, which gave it a cool look. I agree. Like overall,
yeah,
I was really impressed with that stuff. Going back to the one-liners, dude, the one that I actually wrote down that was my favorite was when he's in Carter's office, who's like the first, kind of nice place. He's like tier 2
He's the
boss
first
in the
boss,
in the
yeah.
mob.
Yeah.
Um, and he is on the phone, right? Put me on speaker, right? And
Yes.
he talks to the head, assuming the head of the outfit or whatever they're called. And then, threatens to like kill Carter and stuff and just straight shoots him. And then
Yeah.
Carter, what does Carter say? He's like, "You son of a bitch," or something. He basically insults Porter, right?
Mhm.
And the person on the phone just says, "I sure hope you're talking to him and not me." Like that is like a straight up like Leslie Nielsen line,
Yeah,
Like that has those kind of vibes.
yeah, yeah. But budget 90 million, made 161 million. So,
Not bad.
90 million? That does that feel high
It does.
feels high for 99. I mean,
for
For
99
what
and
it
like for
is.
what happened in this movie? There wasn't
I
any
mean, there was a lot of
particular plot.
explosions. I wonder if that's what it was.
Okay.
Mel
That's-
Gibson,
blew up a building.
explosions. There's
Mel Gibson, yeah.
blew up a car,
Blew up a building, dude. Jesus Christ.
blew up a
But that's a
building.
good chunk of money to make off of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
161. So, I mean, not bad. And I feel like they were still able to get their stylistic flair, even if they probably were like, okay, people want color. The gray and grittiness of it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
So like, and that's kind of the thing. Like, so 99. I mean, it felt older, and they were trying to make it older. They even, like Jay said, they even wanted to make it in black and white. I mean, is that like kind of considered a period piece from the late 90s? Like, was it going for that? Because
Dude,
and then maybe that's why we're starting to feel, or what we said in the very opening of this, it feels older than 99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
So
we're
very
just not
intentional,
in that
maybe.
yeah, we weren't in the mindset. That was what they were going for, I guess, right?
Mhm.
What was the time that they were
Yeah.
in the
It felt
movie?
like it was supposed to be older than it
Because
was.
they had like they had all rotary phones, and like when
Yeah.
when Jay, you mentioned how they were on speaker, and I was like, rotary phones have speaker, but it was like
Yeah.
a wire that was attached to a box that you had to, and I was like, oh, all right. They
I mean, if
do have
you're
speaker, I guess.
I mean,
Right.
right? All those people
But it was like just funny because that made me think about how old. I mean,
That is.
we grew up in the late 90s, and I don't
Yeah.
remember anyone having a rotary phone except my grandparents, maybe. But
Yeah.
Well, like, so they intentionally had, I think it was like no cars over the year of 1989 were in the movie at all. So I
Okay.
don't know if it's supposed to be like late 80s or something, which is maybe why it feels so 80s. Yeah, I don't actually know when rotary phones like stopped and other phones began, but late 80s seems appropriate, I guess.
Yeah.
Have any of you made a phone call on a rotary phone?
Never.
yes.
No.
Yeah.
You have, James? I have not. And I'm
Yeah.
like, holy shit, who did you call? 911? You're like, get me out of here? What?
My grandma had a rotary phone, and I called my auntie. Yeah,
Wow, nice.
and that's probably the gist of it. Yeah. Thanksgiving time was at the grandma's house, and we were calling.
Oh, dude. I remember
So
playing with
cool.
them, but never actually making a
Yeah,
legitimate
Yeah.
phone
I was like, my
call.
grandpa had a real one, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
plugged in or anything. I would just
Yeah,
sit there and
yeah,
fuck
yeah.
with it.
It was
This
the
one was
coffee
plugged
table
in.
piece.
This one was
Yeah.
plugged in.
That's crazy.
Oh man, dude, to think that Zoomers are gonna be like, oh, did your parents ever have a home phone? Like,
Yeah.
because who has home phones now? I don't even really know. I don't.
Technically, I do, but I like it just
Yeah.
comes with the service.
It
you
It's in
know?
the
comes
package,
with,
but you don't
yeah.
like
It goes
have
through the
a
wire
I don't
into the
use it.
ether. It just
Yeah,
goes nowhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
goes nowhere.
Dude,
Yeah,
even
can
like,
reach
I should plug it in.
did your parents have T9 texting, bro? Have you heard of that?
Oh gosh.
Oh my
no.
god.
Whoa.
T9.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Blast from the past.
it's moving quick, man.
Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah.
It really is. Oh boy. So, let's move into more of the characters. Val Resnick. I loved his character actually. Like I think he was the perfect cowardly bad guy who was so afraid of seeming weak. Like when he meets with that guy who's in with all the crooked cops, his name's Arthur Stegg, I think. Like he's just trying to have this like machismo, like macho, like yeah, like who the fuck's looking for me? And then he's like, oh, some guy says Porter, and he's just like, wait, Porter, like that man should be dead. And but he played that role so perfectly.
Dude,
just the
I loved his relationship with Lucy Liu. It was so weird, but it was hilarious. Like they would just beat each other's fucking ass, and then just get down. I don't know.
Get down and
They
dirty,
liked
I
it.
guess.
Yeah.
And he looked,
the
so
first-
exhausted. She'd like punch him. And he's just like, oh, here we go. He'd have to do it.
Okay,
now.
I'm on the phone, dearest, and
Yeah.
she's like flogging his ass. Yeah, what was that when we first met her? When we first met Pearl, he's on the phone finding out that somebody is after him from Porter or whatever, and Pearl's just in there like punching him in the dick, like
Yeah.
and he's just like fucking. And that's the thing is, and that's what I was talking about, like the women beating in this era. He's just laying it on her too. He's like, all right, you want to throw hands? We're gonna throw hands, and he's just like closed fist punching this girl.
Busts out a roll of quarters and just...
Yeah, I'm like, brother, whoa.
Like
She's like 92 pounds, man. Like
if she
Like she
didn't,
straight up, who did she straight up fucking karate kick like at one point?
oh
Like,
yeah,
it
she
was
kicks a
fucking
few
sick,
people's
like-
ass, right?
Like she gets her leg like fucking way up there, like way
It might
up
have
there.
been it
Like,
might have been
kicks the shit
Val.
out of somebody.
It might have been Val when Porter was was about to kick Val's ass,
I think it was.
and then Pearl was
Yeah.
like, no. Like he
I
pays
got
me to do
this.
this, but I want,
I did,
which is so weird because she's a hook. I don't know. That's
if
an
she
interesting
if she
story.
didn't like
Yeah.
turn back after the punch and like look like she liked it, I would be like, yikes, what is going on? But she was so into it that I was like, all right, I guess
Yeah.
we're doing
Did
it.
you not say that when Porter was beating the shit out of his wife before she ODs? Like they were just at that was
Oh,
like
yeah.
a weird scene. They were at her apartment. I don't know if they both lived there, but they were having breakfast, I think. And then they have a conversation, something goes wrong in the conversation, and Porter just like punches her in the face across the table.
Jesus.
And I'm like, okay, this is that movie.
He kicks the door in on her. I was like, relax, just open
Oh,
the door.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's funny, dude.
I mean, it's basically how the movie opens, right? And
Yeah.
that's kind of
It's very early on, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the first transition in the movie where at the beginning you hear the conversation that Porter and Val are having about how they're going to split up the money, and then you find out that the deal goes sour, and then they ostensibly kill Porter, and then Porter comes back and then meets his wife, who is on heroin, I guess, and then
Yeah.
ex-wife, wife, I don't know who she is, girlfriend,
Yeah.
dead person at that point. Shortly after.
What did she say? She's like, "You're not gonna kill me, are you?" I'm like, I'm pretty sure that line is said like 6 fucking times in this movie.
Oh,
It's so funny,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah, and half of them are by Arthur Stagg. Like
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah.
his character's hilarious too. He's just that slimy, like, yeah, I'm in with the cops, and the cops are just. I love seeing crooked cops in film because they're just so overblown. Like they're
Yeah.
so off the top.
Yeah.
Great
Where-
fucking quote about cops. Like it's so fucking funny. It's let me see if I can find it. Crooked cops, do they come in any other way? If I had been just a little bit dumber, I would have joined the force myself.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, burn,
was
sick
good.
fucking burn. Like that's
So like they're
that's
up
fucking
in
funny.
some fucking building and they're all playing like craps or some shit. Like I don't know what crooked cops do in their spare time. They just roll dice on a table and they're smoking cigarettes outside.
It's just like, is that heroin? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Porter
heroin.
throws 3 balloons. Oh god, and we have to talk about where did he get those balloons of heroin?
Oh, man.
That fucking character. Ugh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
hilarious. So fucking funny.
Dude.
Yeah, and that's what made this movie feel like super weird because this was like definitely like a 90s like it's kind of like he had like dreads, he had a nose
Just like a
piercing.
punk rocker
He
kind
was
of
like a punk grunge kid. Like
Yeah.
that's where it was just like, what era is this movie?
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah. But when he grabbed him by the dreads and pulled him in the house, I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Ripped out his nose
Dude, yeah.
piercing,
I was
dude.
gonna
Oh,
say there
dude,
was
that
a
was
couple
brutal.
scenes where I literally flinched. I was like, "Oh my god, was that one for sure?"
Yeah.
And then the toe smashing, I think, was the other one. But that nose, I was like, "Oh my god,
The
that's
toe
so
smashing? Which
fucked up."
one?
When Porter's toes at the end, towards the end. When
Oh,
have
okay.
them, yeah. But when they rip
Also,
that shit out of his nose, fuck. man.
the bartender when Porter smashes that
Oh, that was
bar
one
hatch.
too. Yeah. Oh my god.
yeah, just those sensory neurons. You're like, oh, ouch.
What is
And that was
I
like
love
another
that,
thing. It's
dude.
just like nobody's here like stopping this guy from getting his finger smashed. He's obviously very agitated. Like what?
Yeah.
Nobody else fucking cares, and he's just like, okay, I'm gonna give that call to
Those lines are so good.
girl.
He's
It's
like,
just like it's so weird.
he's like, usually we do this more discreetly, and then he smashes his fingers, and he's like, so be discreet, and he's just trying not to scream. Like it's so good, very good.
Yeah. The one-liners just they zing through the whole movie. Like it just one hit after the next.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And to jump back to the punk rock guy, just the entire scene where he's being interrogated, and it's such a trope in these types of movies where, where's Stegman or where's Val, and he's just like, I don't even know who that is, man. I don't know. And he's like, where is he? And then he like puts the gun to his head, and he's like, oh, okay, I know who he is, and I'm gonna give you all the information. And it's just like, god damn it, like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you kind of love to see it. It's just like the anti-hero.
You don't want to see
Yeah.
that. You don't want to see that today. But like in those movies, like you're like, okay, this is where it's made. These are the founding movies that create those kind of tropes.
Yeah, we let them have those tropes, and then now I think they would be weird now. For sure.
Yeah.
There's a great play on that. Or I don't know if it's a play, maybe it came from this place or was at least inspired by this, but in Police Squad, the show, it was what The Naked Gun comes from, that movie. It's another Leslie Nielsen movie. So it's like 70s, right? 60s, 70s, that era. It's a TV show, and it's about police, and it's like really ridiculous like that. And so there's a character who's a shoe shiner, and you go to him and you give him like $100, and you're like, what do you know about this? And he's like, I don't know nothing about it. Give him $100, and he goes on for like 5 minutes straight about exactly what's happening.
Spills all
It's
the
so
beans.
good, dude.
And
Yeah,
that
so
was
good.
another thing. Like I couldn't tell. Like I was like, how much money is he giving these people? Like the random chick he met at like some bar. Like I was like, how much money is he giving her? Like when he was like, when she was like, oh, go down to the hotel. Like I don't know the address. And that's like the other fucking crazy thing was just like, they were like, they didn't know where anything was until they got the address. Like,
Yeah, he
I don't know.
interrogated
Like-
a lot of people. Now that you mentioned that,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
the
he
address, like,
interrogated
five
a ton of
fucking
people, and he was just
times.
like, I need an address. Like, they're like, oh, it's on 47th Street and next to this and that, and I'm just like,
apartment number.
I'm just like, because
Commerce
she
and 47.
literally said the name of the hotel, but like we're so like futuristic, like we're just like, just Google the fucking Overlook Hotel. Like, we fucking find it. And he was like, no, I need the address because I won't be able to find it. Like he was just like, oh,
Give me directions.
yeah, give me directions. Okay, so you're gonna go left on, like, it's just like New York. He's like,
Back to the Matucci's. After you pass that, you take a left on Commerce.
yeah, you're gonna go 4 blocks this way.
Yeah, and now, I mean, that's also something that is sad in film. I think that people don't know where the fuck things are, and like I know I don't. I'm like, okay, let me just enter this into my phone. Dude, another thing, I don't know if they did that much in this film, but did they have cell phones like in this movie? Were there?
They had car phones. That was like the most that they went, I think.
Okay. But what I was gonna say is like the closed cell phones, like cell phones that you had to open, and like
People
that is such a trope where it's just like where are they? Just like, oh, we're not just slamming that phone down. It's so like satisfying.
Yeah.
And like
now you're like,
do that anymore, man. You're just like,
Oh, I missed. Hold on.
assertively pressing end on your iPhone. It doesn't have the same
You can't
effect as
fucking-
slamming that phone or breaking one in half because it's a burner, you know? Like, is that gonna stop? Because I don't know if I want to live in a world where we can't watch somebody smash a breaker on a rock. I don't know. I guess you could smash it.
Dude, I don't know. Might be worse. So you get that iPhone, you hit it with a hammer, you're like, that was $1,000. Oh my god, please don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We need to have a better system for burner phones. This is
I feel like
2/3 of our budget.
like in The Boys, they use burners and they're still flip phones. You know, like nobody's moving away from that.
Fucking
which is really
pagers and
funny.
shit.
Yeah, like that's exactly why they're not gonna bust an iPhone for this shot. You know.
Dude, to be fair, like right out of high school, I worked at Family Dollar for a brief period of time, and we sold those things that were basically burner phones.
Mm.
And they were still, I mean, this was, granted 2011, but smartphones were alive and well, and people still bought those things. And I'm just like, are you a drug dealer? Like, what do you need this for? Like, why do you need a burner phone? But yeah.
That's funny.
Car phones are weird too, man. Like, how did they come up with car phones before cell phones? Because wouldn't it have to be wireless also?
Like an antenna, like the radio or something.
I don't even, yeah.
And you're like,
to pull it out,
yeah, you're like moving and shit. It's
Yeah, at high rates of
Yeah.
speed. Yeah,
Can
that
you
was
be
something
moving?
that came and went.
I don't know. I've
Could
never
you be
seen a
moving in the
phone.
car?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh yeah,
That
all
was
the
the
time.
point,
Well,
right?
I've never been. You know what? I have been in a. I think I was in a limousine once. It was like a really old limo from like the 90s, and I think it had a car phone in it, but it was like for the driver. But I've never really. I just didn't see. We didn't really see cars with car phones that much.
Damn, Gerald in
Never-
chat says he had one. I'm like, holy shit. That's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
wild.
That's crazy.
My dad had one of those brick phones.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those are
My
crazy.
dad, I think he I don't know when pagers came around, like when they started, but I remember like I feel like my dad had a certain job where he was like, oh yeah, like I had a company pager, and it was like a big deal to have a company pager,
Yeah.
give you.
My dad had one of those too.
Yeah.
And now I have one, and it's just an app. Whenever like the servers go down, I get a fucking page on my
Oh
phone.
my gosh.
Hey, shit's broken, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And you go over to your rotary phone and you have to fix it.
Yeah. No, it's all an app now. Everything.
But that's something that's, now that we've talked a little bit about, was this a period piece from the late 90s, taking us a step back, maybe a decade? It kind of feels that way, but it's so interesting to look at that now and just to see how quickly things are changing. And like, fuck, like what, can you imagine like a period piece that was made in 2030 that's going to be about like when we were in high school? It's going to be so weird to look at that. We're going to start seeing shit like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I was
I'm not
thinking
ready
about
for
that.
hard to think about.
A lot of movies either set themselves like in the past because of cell phones. It's like, oh, well, if you have a cell phone, then you can easily get out of the situation or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so funny to
I
see
what you're
that.
saying.
Or if it's like, oh, I don't have any service, like, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like that's a worse excuse than just being in the 80s. and not having a
Yeah.
cell phone.
Well, I think, like, look at it like this: the difference in technology from when this movie is like supposed to be in, right? Rotary phones, car phones, maybe,
Yeah.
to where we were in high school to 2030. Like, how different is it going to be?
Oh my
Because from when
gosh.
we were in high school to now, it hasn't really changed to the same degree that it has from like in '89. You know?
Oh, sure, yeah.
You guys,
Everyone
you
has
guys
a
gonna
phone in
get
their
that?
pocket.
You guys gonna get that chip that makes you see
Oh, I
Google?
fucking wish, dude.
That'd
That'd be so cool.
We're
No,
talking about Neuralink or something
we're
else?
talking about 2050 shit right here.
Oh,
You
okay.
get the little thing right in your vein, and then it uploads you to the cloud, and now you're just
Oh, the
Just
singularity and
the
you're just
AR.
yeah, singularity.
Get that video game HUD on your
yeah.
eyeballs.
But if you deny it, then you beat the game, and then you wake up and you're in your little bathtub with your little pod, and you're just like, "Welcome to the real world." Oh shit!
Boy, we
That
managed
went deep.
to come a long way from the 90s to this, but I like it. I like it. Yeah, dude, can you imagine? Like, and again, so you said how different is where we are now, 2020, to when we were in high school, like
Mhm.
2008 to 9, 10, 11, whatever.
Mhm.
I guess it doesn't feel that different, but for sure it feels so much different from like the 80s and 90s. But I'm wondering if when we flash forward another 20 years, or even shit, dude, 2030 is 10 years away. Like 9 years. We're at the end of this shit. And that feels like so far away. But that I feel like we're gonna look back, be like, remember 20 years ago when we were in high school, and that's gonna be
Yeah.
like way fucking different.
Don't say that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
little side thing. I just finished watching Queen's Gambit on Netflix. It's a drama about chess playing, and
Huh.
it's set in the 60s. And I'm like, holy shit! I was actually just talking to Jacqueline about it earlier because like they have like all the mid-century modern like furniture, and I'm like, all this kind of furniture is like still playing, or it's like coming back, you know?
Cycled back
then-
into the fashion or whatever.
Yeah, it's like back in fashion and everything, like, you know, what's old is new again kind of thing. And I'm just like, holy shit, our parents have seen all this stuff in real life, like the actual things, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Jacqueline was just like, oh my God, that refrigerator is so cute, and it's like super boxy and like has like the embossed like
It's like a
door
car
and
door
stuff.
fucking
Yeah.
Like,
handle.
It's like rounded.
yeah,
Kinda.
it's all rounded and stuff. And I'm just like, our parents lived in this, dude. Like that's just crazy. Like,
Yeah.
great show if you guys want
Yeah, shout
something
out.
to watch.
So
I've
good.
heard it's good. I
Man.
get that same feeling when I play Fallout games.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like retro tech. I
Yeah.
don't know what you would call that.
Yeah, because it feels so old, but it's like in the future.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like Star Wars. I think Family Guy's Star Wars intro is just like a long time ago, but somehow in the future. That's pretty much
Right. Yeah.
that's pretty much it. Oh, holy shit. What else you guys got on this one? What else do we have to say? We've touched on a
I
lot.
got
and-
2 notes that we haven't talked
Let's hear
about. One is I wrote Adrian Ballas song.
Oh yeah.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Because
Those
the
of you who don't
guy
know
had a
what
Ballas
Ballad
song.
song is, it's a butterfly knife, is more commonly known as that.
Mm.
And my very first YouTube channel actually
Dude, Adrian's
was
sick.
videos of me flipping a balisong or a butterfly knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't check them out. Don't look up. Don't
For
look up
e-
Adrian
for-
on YouTube.
Forever when I see one of those, I think of you. No
Dude,
matter
you know
what.
what's so funny is I watched this with my girlfriend and she's known me for like 10 plus years. And she saw the balisong and she like looked at me.
Oh
And
my
and I was like, fuck. It's like,
Got 'em.
that's
Got 'em.
awesome. Oh, it's so funny.
That's
So
so
I already
funny.
found it. It's there in the chat. I already sent it. You
Oh,
guys-
Oh,
did you?
no.
It'll be in the
There it
description later. No, I'm just kidding.
They release videos once every decade or so.
Oh man.
Holy shit. Okay, so Adrian Balisong, what's your other note, Taryn?
The music in this movie was fucking amazing. Did you guys think this at all?
It felt I think now that I'm thinking about it, it felt like older too. Like,
It
and I
was
think maybe
jazzy
that,
as hell.
yeah, I think maybe that's what was taking us a little further back as well, is it just felt like this noir kind of like
Sure.
maybe early 90s, just Seinfeld almost at sometimes like that. I don't know. That's just the vibe it gave.
I don't remember like specifically any music, but I remember that it was cool.
The opening song came back a couple times and it was really cool. Like I liked it a lot. I'm like, I might just listen to the soundtrack later.
Huh?
Yeah.
I might work
I
out
didn't
the-
catch it. I didn't catch it.
Just
No, the music was I was listening to it and I was just like, this is putting me somewhere. I don't know where it is because I wasn't like either alive or paying attention to media at the time that this was taking place. But
it's just like
definitely
jazzy,
take me somewhere.
weird time signature, saxophone, piano shit. I don't know. I just enjoyed
Yeah.
it a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Absolutely.
Oh, dude, this is like Incredibles music. The music in The Incredibles is really good.
Is that Michael G? No, that's
Shit,
I
I
don't
meant
know.
to-
Go
Never mind.
listen to the Incredibles soundtrack. It's not half bad.
Yeah.
Dude,
I've seen that in a while.
Incredibles is incredibly overrated. Ha!
Ooh.
Hot take from chat.
Damn. Whoa.
ouch. Ouch. Is that your hot take or was that from chat?
That's my hot take.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, Incredibles 2 was phenomenal, but we're not going to get into that right now. Anyway, James, do you have anything else to say about Payback 1999? Or are we ready to jump into ratings?
I just got to keep going back to my girl Lucy Liu. I'm just like, that's okay. We haven't asked a question for us in a long time. Who is the person you want to have a beer with,
Oh.
Jay?
In this movie?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Who do you want to sit down and have a beer with?
Hard ass
Silent.
question.
Well, because I don't know, I feel like saying poor is lame. And for me, honestly, I think it's what's his name? The guy in the Taxi, Stein something.
Stegman.
Arthur Stegg?
Stegman. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Stegman.
Wait.
I agree with you.
Oh, is it Stegman?
Yeah.
I'll have
that
a beer
his-
with Stegman.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
cut
He's
off.
an interesting guy. He
Yeah,
does a
I
bunch
feel
of-
like he has. I feel like he has a couple stories. It's like kind of why you in this drug game? Why you in with the police? Why you doing this? Why you doing that?
Yeah.
You have a beer with him. You
All right, here's what you do. You have a beer with him, you flash your pistol on your hip, and you say, listen, you need to get me some next with these big drug dealers. Something is gonna happen, or he's a coward and he's gonna
Yeah.
just do something that you're just gonna get really rich.
You're making money that night.
You're gonna make money because he's a coward and he's
Yeah, he is a coward, but I still feel like you have a beer with him.
yeah, no, absolutely.
That begs the next question, Taryn. Can you fumble in this movie?
Oh yeah, dude. It'd probably be a lot. It's already fun. It'd be a lot more fun, I think.
If you're drinking?
Yeah, it'd be a lot
I agree.
funnier, a lot more ups and
I
downs.
agree too.
Yeah, yeah,
When-
Sure.
yeah. It's a fun movie. It's a fun watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
other than that, I ain't got much else to say.
All right. So who wants to rate this thing first? I think I went first last time, didn't I? Pretty sure.
I don't remember.
I don't
Last
know.
week was like a month ago. I don't remember.
A lot of time has passed. I mean,
I can go.
November 7th.
Take the
All right,
helm,
Jay.
Jay.
I'll
Do it.
go. Okay. Yeah, it's a fun watch. I think that some of the things are really funny, like it's one of the running gag of it's not 130, it's 70.
Yeah.
And it was said like the first two times I was like, okay. And then they kept it, throughout the whole movie, they said
So
like 10 times.
stubborn.
It got more and more funny every time. It was one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a lot of really funny stuff like that. One of the tropes that we didn't talk about is how like bullets never go through a body in a movie, so you just like put a guy in front of you and you're safe.
Oh, yeah.
Like in that kind of one of the last.
In the car
Oh,
shootout,
car,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
He just picks up his body and survives.
Holy
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, but the last 10 minutes of this movie are actually really cool. Like if you cut that out on its own and just watched it, it's like super interesting. There's all this like really clever like heisty movie things where they like swap who's who and you're not really sure what's happening and then it's all made clear, like one of those things.
Yeah, yeah.
But then at the end, like he's like stumbling through the street, he's all fucked up, but he's still like shooting people, which is ridiculous.
And landing those shots. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, okay,
nailing
hold on.
shot.
What, dude? Okay, did you guys see the scene where he was shooting he went dual Berettas and he was shooting up here? He was just like, it was like, okay, they were like, okay, get in the shot. Hey Mel, can you just move your hands up a little bit more? And he's like right here. He's like, okay, yeah, just go ahead, just go.
Go wild.
He was just going hard. He was just fucking blasting. I was like, oh,
Dude, but
God.
then even
Dude, that's so funny.
and then under the van, he does the same thing. He's just laying there.
Oh, I forgot about that.
He never
That's
had,
so
he
funny.
never had to reload. He was like using a 6-shooter, and he was just like,
I love it.
Dude, now you got me thinking. I can just see that, like, Mel, we can't see the guns.
yeah.
Higher?
They could have very well moved the
Higher?
camera back. Yeah, they could have very well moved the camera back. Hey, just okay, yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's one of those movies that if you know nothing about it, it might be better because you go into it and you're like, oh, it's kind of funny, and that's a good surprise. I wish I remember the music. I went back and listened to the title one, and it's really cool, so I'll go check that out. But yeah, I mean, all of those things. I was initially leaning one way, but I think I'm gonna land on a 7.0 to match with the 70K that he,
Oh.
yeah,
nice.
trying to get.
Ooh.
He's fishing for that 7. He ain't fishing for the 13. Fishing for the 7. I think it's appropriate for the movie.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. So 7 out of J. Who wants to take over next?
I'll go.
James, take it away.
Okay, so yeah, like this was it was a fun ride. It was I kind of went into it. I saw the movie poster and I was like, oh, okay, you're gonna root for the bad guy. I was like, oh, okay, am I really gonna root for the bad guy? But I was rooting for the bad guy. I was like, okay, all right, let's do this. Which felt kind of weird because it was just like, okay, I get you got shot and like you got 2 times and stuff like that, but like he actually was fucking crazy, like. And that's what was like one of the more funny jokes throughout the movie. Like it was just like when he was just like, "No, it's 70K." Like,
Yeah.
it just kind of got gold, and they knew he was crazy. The characters knew he was crazy. He knew he was crazy. The audience knew he was crazy. So it was like everyone was in on this gag, right? So it's just like it's just fun to watch. But shout out to Lucy Liu. She was fucking hilarious. Like.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they were trying to make her hilarious when she's just like, she's even on the phone at one point when she's like, "Shut the fuck up! I'm on the phone." Like that shit was so funny. Like incredible one-liners. Like just some of the zingers. Just kind of they just pull you along. Like you're kind of just like, okay, like the movie's meddling, the storyline's kind of just there, but the one-liners and then everything that else is going on, you're just like, okay, sweet. The thing that really surprised me was just the style. I thought it was really cool. I wasn't expecting there to be this gritty noir style, and then when they did flashbacks, they brought in a lot of color. I thought that was kind of it was refreshing to me. Like I was like, wow. I thought it was going to be different, but with all that, I give it a 6.9. I think that's
nice.
I think that's fair. 69. Fun movie to watch. I think it's another one of those movies that you have all the boys over and you just kind of laugh at it, and the best part about it is that it's not taking itself too seriously, and Mel Gibson like really knocks it out of the park with just kind of he's not overacting or anything, but he's playing the part, and if it was anybody else, I feel like anyone else would probably like try to make it too serious. Maybe. I feel like they would try to really like act into it, and Mel Gibson's just there doing his damn thing, and I appreciate that.
Nice. All right. So 6.9 coming out of James. Taryn, you want to go next? Do you want me to take it over?
Sure, welcome.
Go for it.
So yeah, I'm on the same page as James. I was like, ah, geez, this is gonna be some fucking cheesy ass shit or whatever. And then once it got going, I was like, oh shit, like this is pretty fucking funny, and it's not trying to take itself seriously, so it's actually like, there's jokes and shit. And I don't know, man, like I love that Porter, like Mel Gibson's character, got his ass beat so much. It's like he's not like the coolest guy fucking ever. He's just like this dude getting his shit done or whatever. It's just so cool to see. It's just like it's like a noir movie, but like a cheeser noir. Like it's almost on par with the other noir movies, but it's a little cheesy. Like it's on the line of being too cheesy, and it fucking walks it pretty good, I think. Yeah, so the music, like I said, was fucking awesome. I loved it. I don't even know if it fit, but it fucking worked for me. The jokes were good. The one-liners were good. Like the action was crazy. Like when it all culminates at the end with the bomb under the bed. So cool, dude. Like, loved it. Yeah, I don't know what else there is to say. Give it a 7.3. 7.3. That's sound good.
7.3.
So
Nice.
in sevens. It's not good, not bad. It's a good bad kind of thing, you
I
know?
like that. I like that score. I like it.
Yeah, that's a good score. All right, so I'll go ahead and take it over. Yeah, I think a lot of us are echoing the same sentiment that this movie doesn't take itself too seriously, and I think it took me maybe a little bit longer as I was watching this to fully know that it wasn't taking itself too seriously. So like halfway through the movie, I was just like, I don't think I'm really liking this very much. But once the jokes kept happening, like, as Jay was saying, like the 70K, I was like, this is kind of a comedy. Like it's kind of funny, and that really just opened me up. And this conversation opened me up to that too, which leads me into my next point, is that it feels like it was a period piece from the late 90s that was trying to replicate something that was maybe a decade earlier. And I kind of appreciate that, the whole like rotary phone and just the car phones. And I don't think that they were super common in 99, but they were present in this. And it was interesting to see that. And this movie had that vibe. It had the older, and I think maybe the music was putting me there, maybe just the way it was shot just was putting me a lot earlier to 99, which again at first was maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but now that I realize like this movie, just because it was released in 99 doesn't mean that that's when it's set.
Yeah.
Which, again, setting a little bit earlier than the 90s, smoking is so fucking cool, and we keep saying it.
Yes.
Kids do not smoke. It is terrible. I don't smoke. None of us smoke cigarettes here. James, put that down.
Maybe I wish I did. I don't know.
But smoking is so cool. There was a scene we actually forgot to talk about that it was so great. Who is it Val or is it Porter who lights a cigarette from somebody's lit cigarette that they had just shot?
Yeah, Val did that after they shot.
After they shot Porter. So Porter gets shot in the back and he has a lit cigarette for some reason. And Val goes over, picks up his cigarette, lights his cigarette with it, and then it extinguishes Porter's cigarette in Porter's own blood, which was so fucking hilarious. Like it's just, these silly things. And again, looking back at it, that's why it was so much fun to watch it not take itself too seriously. And I think that this movie would be one of the movies that you could watch in a big group where you don't have to be paying attention to everything and have fun with it. This movie played around a little bit with time, but just because like the first scene, you hear the conversation that that Porter and Val and Porter's, I guess, wife are having, and then it flashes forward, and then they play with time a little bit, but they don't confuse you too much. And I feel like a lot of the movies in this time are going to throw you all over the place, and this movie did not. So 100% you could hang out with a bunch of your bros, be drinking, and just laugh and enjoy this movie. Yeah, so I mean, I guess with all of that being said, I liked it more than I thought, and before this conversation, my score was definitely lower. But I'm like right around with Taryn. I I'm like right in between Taryn and Jay. I think it's like a 7.2 out of 10 for me. So
Nice.
Okay.
that's where I'm at with that. Let's see. That brings
Good
us
Boy one.
to a collective 7.1.
Got it.
Swimming in
Alright.
sevens, Taryn says. Yeah, 7.1. What we would love to know what you guys think about this movie. Where do you rate it? You know, would I recommend it? Sure. Like, you
Yeah.
know, if you're
Why
hanging
not?
out, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
If you're into
And if you've
80s
seen it,
ass movies, bro, it's fucking good.
yeah, that has a little bit of splash of some comedy and some noir. Give it a watch. We'd love to know what you guys think. Hit us up on any of our socials. You can find all of those by searching them pretty much anywhere. Just search Film Fumblers. Find us at filmfumblers.com. That's our website where you can find all of our socials. Next week, we are recording. What are we recording next week, boys? I already forgot. Hamilton. And we will have a special guest for that episode. So be tuned or stay tuned for that one. Yeah, I think that pretty much does it for us. If you're watching us live, stay tuned for the after show. Other than that, have a great night, guys. Cheers.
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 Bye.